Katrina here from Scrappy Horses. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm so happy you're here. I hope you've had a wonderful weekend and a very healthy and happy Thanksgiving if you celebrated. Today I'm working on a little Christmas gnome. He is from Coniefongart. He's the Christmas tree gnome, and it includes a sentiment that I did not use on this card. What I want to share with you in Cricut Design Space is how I put this little bell together, or how I took it apart and put it back together. Anyway, let me just show you and you'll understand what I'm saying. Because when we go over to the craft table to put it together, it might be a little confusing as to how in the world I got these pieces. Now, to add more confusion, I'm going to show you a different way than I actually did it, because I did not choose wisely when I made this card. And since then, I've done some thinking about it, and I've come up with a better way to do this, an easier way to do it. So let's take a look at my new and improved way of doing this, and then you'll see when we put it together at the craft table how much easier it would be had I just done it this way to begin with. All right, I have my different pieces. I have my Christmas tree gnome from Coniefongart. Isn't he cute with his little, I'm not sure if that's a squirrel or a fox, but he definitely is some little woodland creature there. He's very cute. And he's got this tree hat on his head. I think that's so fun. The digital pattern paper is from DeCosse's Dynamite Doodles, Nature of Christmas. The Jingle Bell cut is from Following Daisies. It's in the Cricut Access. Christmas Tree is from Joys of the Season. And then this little piece right here is just a little embellishment piece. It's from Winnie in Wonderland, which is from Polka Doodles. What I did with my little tree is I just did an offset. I did not cut that in orange. It's just in orange so you can see it easily. The only piece we're really going to talk about here are the bells, or is the bell piece, the bell and ribbon piece. So I've already gone ahead and I've brought it in. I also brought in a square from Shapes. So in case you're not sure where that is, it's over here in the left-hand panel. I'm going to left click with my mouse, bring in the square, and then I can pull it and put it however I like it. All right, now I'm just going to leave this here because we'll need it later. I'm going to scroll down so that we just have the pieces we're working with. First thing I want to do is I want to duplicate the bell image. So I have right-clicked on my mouse and left-clicking duplicate, and I have two of them. I'm going to move this one out of the way. Come back to my first one, and this is where I made my mistake the first time. I wish I had done it this way before. I'm going to go over to Contour over here in our right-hand panel. I'm left-clicking Contour. I'm going to get rid of this little bow piece, bow piece, bow piece, bow piece. I am leaving in everything else. Oh, no, let's get rid of this piece too, okay? But I am leaving these outer pieces of the bow, and I'm not messing with anything down here. I'm leaving it all alone. I'm going to come up here now and get out of here. Do not press hide all contours, so you don't want to do that. Just go ahead and click the X and we'll get out of there. Now, this is how much bow we're going to have. Now, I want to cut away these bells because I don't need them. So the idea now is to trim away this, and this. So I'm going to come in with this rectangle that I have here, and I'm just going to place it under to get rid of as much as I can without getting myself into trouble here, because I really don't want to cut into this bow. Just want to get rid of these bells as much as possible. I'm going to swing this around a little bit more. I'm going to push it right up here. And I'm going to go ahead, select them both, and I'm going to slice. Pull this up. I'm not too worried that I cut off this part of the bow because it's going to be hidden. I'm making the red layer that's going underneath. That's what I'm doing, all right? So I'm not just real concerned about that, all right? We can get rid of all of this. So I'm going to delete it, and I'm going to delete this. All right, now I want to get rid of this side. So I'm going to bring this in, and I want to kind of cut right through this section right here. And that's going to take me a couple of cuts, all right? So I'm just going to go ahead and slice that away. There we go. This time I'm just going to select all this and hit delete on my keyboard. I'm going to use the same piece, rock it around here a little bit. And again, I'm just going to try to get in right underneath where this bow is. It does not have to be perfect because, like I said before, it's going to lay underneath here and we will be able to test it before we finish. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to continue to slice out what I think I can. Again, I'm going to select it both and delete. And now what I have left is right up here. I want to get rid of that. So let's come in with a different shape. Let's come in with, I'm going to come in with this shape right here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this shape right here. I'm going to put it right here. I'm going to take these two pieces, okay, this piece right here, and this rectangle right here, and I'm going to hit shift on my keyboard. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice those. I'm going to get rid of that. Get rid of this, get rid of this. And now I've got this piece right here, which is going to be pretty good to slice this out. But somehow I got that in there, that little piece right there, and I don't want that. So again, I'll just pick up a piece of scrap here and again slice it out. Get rid of all of that. Bump this up. And let's just slice that. Okay. Now, I'm going to bring all this down here. I'm going to get rid of all of this. And I'm going to turn this red. And this is how we're going to test it. We're going to go ahead and bring this piece in now and lay it over the top. And if there's any red sticking out where we don't want it, we can trim that away. We can also hand trim it. If you miss something, you can just hand trim it with some scissors. Looks like we did a pretty good job here. Let's bump it up. I don't see any red sticking out. We can always turn this a bright yellow, and sometimes that is helpful. I just don't see it. I don't see anything sticking out. So we did a pretty good job there for our first attempt at that. Sometimes it takes me a few. So now we've got these pieces. We just take it down to the size we like. And there we go. It's ready to roll. What I did then is I just did these pieces both in white, and then I embossed both pieces to give it almost a cloison look. I think that's how you say that word, but I'm not sure. So let's head on over to the craft table, and I'm going to show you how I got this shiny look. And you will see when we get to the craft table that what I did before is this is a piece, this red is a piece, the tie of the bow and the tie of the bow, those are separate pieces. So I had 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces, which was a bit ridiculous when I see now that I could have done this so simply and done it with one piece, embossed one piece. It would have been so much easier. So take my advice. Do it with just one piece. Much easier. All right, let's head over to the craft table. Let's put it together. Here we are at the craft table. I have all my little pieces put together here in an ice cream lid. I like to keep it together that way. Here's the little 25 embellishment piece and my little gnome from Coniefongart. Here's the bell piece, the Christmas tree, and I did an offset, the fun designer paper from Daisies Dynamite Doodles. And I have some gems and sequins. So here's a close-up of that whimsical paper. I want to start by just sort of going over the edges with a pair of scissors. Yes, I do have a distressing tool, but it just wasn't within arm's reach. So my scissors were, so I chose to go with my scissors this time. Just scraping around, giving it sort of a rugged look. Went over it with some Versamark and now sprinkling over some gold embossing powder just around the edges. That's all I did. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to put some gold on my bells here. And I'm just going to kind of lay it down on the Versamark and pat it on there. And then again, I'm just covering it with the gold embossing powder. I believe it's probably Ranger. I keep it in a Tupperware and then I can just spoon it over. Now I'm going to come in with my heat tool and I'm going to just heat up the embossing powder along the edges of the paper. Again, it just gives it some interest around the edges and a little something different. Kind of gives it a little shine. And then I'll come in and do the bells. I always think this is fun watching this, especially when you speed things up and it goes really fast. It's just a fun thing to watch. All right, I'm coming in with some dark green ink from Close to My Heart. This color is retired, I can assure you. But just goes to show you how long those stamp pads last. So if you're in the market for ink, I would recommend Close to My Heart inks because they do last a long time. I did an offset in Cricut Design Space of the tree, and now I'm going to take a little ATG along with a little bit of my Fabri-Tac, and I'm going to glue that down. In case you're not familiar with Fabri-Tac or why I use both, it is just to give me wiggle room. That way, if I don't get it placed exactly in the center, I have some wiggle room and I can move it around just a tiny bit and get it placed where I like. Now, we're going to come in and just put on our designer paper. We're just adhering that to the card blank. And now that's ready to go. Always like to pull up the card blank just to make sure that I've got the right side up. This is a new glue for me and I really like it. I'm going to link below where I got this. It has that little tiny tip on it. And let me tell you, you can get some pretty small little lines and dabs of glue. I like this glue. I bought it and I didn't know if I was going to like it or not. But I will tell you that it really holds and you can get very fine lines and little tiny dots. So if you're looking for a fine tip applicator glue that works well, I could highly recommend this one. I'll be buying it again. I'm coming in with some duct tape and I'm just adhering the twine to the back of the tree. And again, if you watch many of my videos, you know that I always have to build channels. If I have twine on the back of something, I always like to build channels, and it also gives it a little bit of dimension. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just going to pop this tree up a little bit off the card, and that way that twine has a place to sit without digging into the card. So I will be cutting the cereal box pieces and putting that along my tree, and then I'll finish that up. You can see here how I build in those channels and just get it up off of the surface of the card front. went ahead and I put that in place, and now I'm putting my little gnome where he's going to go. I'm just lightly marking on the back with a pencil where I'm going to have to build him up so that he can sit on top of the tree and still have something underneath him. So I'm going to have to build up that left side there, which when we turn it over will be the right side. So that's what I'm doing there. Again, just cereal box pieces, just cutting and gluing those into place. I'm going to come in now and start embossing those little pieces, the little bow pieces. I was not very pleased. I embossed these several times, and every time I messed up. So this is try number 3, I believe, that you're seeing on the film here. And you'll see here in just a second where a little black arrow is going to pop up. Yes, right there was a ding place where I dinged it with the tweezers. So again, after 4 embossings, yes, 4, I did it 4 times, same pieces, just kept embossing over and over, and then glued them into place with that same fine tip glue. Now, I could have cut these little Jingle Bell pieces in Cricut Design Space, but I'll be honest, this was an afterthought. I thought, oh, I don't have any black sparkle. And then I thought, wait, I've got a scrap of iron-on vinyl that is black sparkle. So I decided, you know what, I'm just going to cut that by hand and adhere it with some Fabri-Tac. So I just took my Fabri-Tac and just put it right over those Jingle Bells, avoiding the area closest to the holes where the black sparkle is going to peek through. Now it's time to start gluing this card together. So you can see the cereal build up there on the left-hand side of the gnome and his little feet. I'm placing that onto the card now. And I will go ahead now and bring in our bells, which is, you know, we have kind of 2 feature images here, although that tree is really fun too. But we have kind of the gnome, and then we have this big embellishment here that we're bringing in. So as you can see, I'm getting a little low on my Fabri-Tac. It's taking a minute to get that out. One little trick I use is I have a big roll of duct tape, and I turn my glue upside down and put it in there between uses. And that way sometimes if I remember, then I don't have to fight with it so much. All right, I'm putting in the little 25, and then I'll add my sequins, and my card will be all finished and ready to send. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I really appreciate your time. Any comments or questions, please leave them in the box below, and I'll get back to you. Hope your holiday time is full of crafty fun and you're not too stressed out. If you need some holiday ideas, just check out my channel. I have a bunch on there. Have a great week, and I'll catch up with you in the next video. Bye.